Any update on Staley's the injury?
Same, I think, from last week or last night. Same what I told you guys, and we're probably expecting about 6 to 8 weeks.
Is there any plan on bringing any tackles in, work out or anything?
Yeah, I think we will later this week. Probably work some guys out. But yeah, we're not set on anything yet.
How did Justin School do?
When he came in, he did a good job. You know, I mean, we were mainly running the ball at that time, but it was good to get him in a real NFL game, especially since he's going to be playing a lot next week.
What have you seen from him just since he's been here?
Just the game's not too big for him. I mean, that's what we liked a lot about him. You know, being a 4-year starter in the SEC at Vanderbilt. You know, we got to play against a lot of good players. Always throughout an entire game. You know, he played the whole game pretty well. Wasn't always a ton of great highlight tape plays, but he was a guy the game wasn't too big for and helped his team win.
You and John have been always aggressive throughout the tenure here, looking at options. Are you going to be aggressive? You think just look at what is out there for left tackle in this?
Yeah, always. I mean, we would love to if there were options. Yeah, you look at anything that's possible. I don't think there's a ton of great options out there that are possible.
What is the situation? You know, you're 2-0, 2 road wins. Do you feel different about this team having done that, or is this what you thought you were going to be doing?
I mean, we expected to be, but I've been in this league long enough that I know that no matter what you expect, I mean, it's hard. It's very hard to win in this league versus whoever you play. I mean, we know we have a better team going into this year. I think we played like it in 2 games. What I was really happy is we found a way to win an ugly game that first game, which we haven't done too much around here. And yesterday was a little bit different. Everything kind of just clicked in all 3 phases, so that was fun to be a part of. But no, by no means do I never feel great. I mean, we're 2-0. We're going to have a real tough team this week. Got a number of injuries we got to deal with and make some adjustments this week because of it. But now the season's just getting started.
Different kind of flight. Obviously, you've been on the road for so long, but to get the win you had, to go 2-0, the flight back home, what was that like?
It was fun. It was real fun. You know, we had a pretty bad delay, so it took us a while to get onto the plane. It took a while to refuel coming from Chicago, but when we got on there, it was a good time. Usually get on there and fall asleep, but not this time. We stayed up pretty late. Now that we're East Coast guys, we know how to stay up later. But no, being back on the way, definitely being away for 10 days, it would have been a much sadder feeling coming back here, being gone that long if you came back losing those games. To come back 2-0 and made it a lot more fun.
Is there a sense of urgency to maybe make an addition at left tackle, or do you feel confident enough in School that you could give him at least this game before the bye and then maybe reevaluate after he puts some stuff on tape?
Well, I mean, you're always doing that stuff as coaches. I mean, when you go to your final roster of 53, I mean, at every single position, whoever's on it, you're looking at all options out there to see. I mean, if that's the case with School on the final 53, and we're trying to see who was better at that time 2 weeks ago. And we kept School because we thought he was the best available. So that doesn't change now. I think School is going to get a lot better throughout his career. But we kept him on this team because he can help us win now. And unfortunately, he's going to get thrown into that right now. We're hoping it wouldn't happen that way. But he'll step it up. And we also got Brunskill also who can play the position. So we'll practice both of them throughout this week. And we'll see how it unfolds on Sunday.
I know you said it was unlikely, but yesterday, but after 24 hours later, is there any more thought about moving McGlinchey to the left side? You still like him on the right tackle?
Yeah, no, I don't see a difference. So I mean, Von Miller always rushes on our right side. So I think there's movies named after the left side and stuff like that. But once you get past that, then I don't see much of a difference.
How does School block in the run game? It seems like he fits your scheme well.
Yeah, he does a good job. He's very efficient in what he does. He's getting better at it each week. And those are the type of guys that I do like as O-linemen. I mean, O-line, it's a grimy game. I mean, there's lots of stuff that they have to do, and it's fun when they pancake people and get noticed for that. But usually guys get noticed when they whiff on people and the quarterback gets hit or they hit the back 4 yards deep in the backfield. So it's about getting on your man. The more reps he gets, the more he can play. I believe he's got the type of mind and the talent that'll get better.
Will you have to help him in pass pro in ways that you wouldn't have to help a great player like Joe Staley?
I mean, you're always, when you put a rookie out there, especially someone going his first game, you always got to think of how to help them. But it depends on who you're going against also. I mean, there's plenty of weeks that you help McGlinchey and plenty of weeks that you help Staley. And, there's some good rushers in this league. So, I've been with a lot of good tackles and, having Trent Williams in Washington and Joe Thomas in Cleveland and Staley here. There's still times you got to help those guys also.
What about D Ford? Is it the same injury that he dealt with in August in terms of the knee?
Yes, yeah, the same area, quad knee area. So, he's still hurting today. We'll see how he is for practice on Wednesday. I don't have anything new to update today, but practice will definitely be in a question for Wednesday.
Did anything else crop up injury-wise?
No, there's some wear and tear, but nothing to where I'd tell you guys are going to be out for Wednesday. We'll see and how they come back then. Better update for you guys then.
On the broadcast, they said that you told them that Breida is your best running back.
Who's that?
The broadcast said that you.
Those guys shared all my secrets.
I know. I don't know how it all happens.
No, they were asking why he's not in much, why he's not in all the time, and because he looks like a really good runner. And I just said, yeah, he has some plays where he looks like the best running back because he is very efficient in what he does. He always hits the right hole. And that's why he was hard to get off the field last year, even when he wasn't always 100%. Breida is also as tough as any running back I've been around, but it's also very important to keep him fresh. He was able to play with us a lot last year, but Matt, just like anybody, the more he gets worn down, the harder it is to play up to his full ability. So that's why we do try to spell him, try not to keep him in there every single down because we believe it'll help him, which helps the offense in the long run.
Jeff Wilson getting the 2 scores yesterday, was that just kind of how the game went, or does he give you something down by the goal line that maybe the other guys don't?
Yeah, we don't mind the other guys going in there. We try to spell them out and keep them fresh. We usually try to do that with 2 guys, but we wanted to get Jeff in the game, and we definitely planned on when we got closer to there doing it. You got to try to set something before the game to help Bobby with the substitutions and things like that. I wouldn't say like he's our designated red zone back, but that was how we planned going into the game, and he did a good job with it, and we tried to do that when we got down there.
Has Raheem Mostert taken his game to another level? He's always been fast, but it seems like he's really finishing runs.
Yeah, it's I think everyone started to see that last year versus Green Bay. That week before he had a fumble, which we were on him pretty hard for because he had done it a couple times, and we were down on some guys with some guys getting hurt and banged up. I know Alf wasn't totally healthy that game, and we put Raheem in, and he started breaking tackles that game and did some really good things for a couple weeks, and then he got hurt, and then he went away until this year. So I know Raheem going into this offseason, I think he showed us and everyone else that he can make those plays, but I think he also showed himself. I know going into this offseason he had a lot more confidence because he always thought he could do it, but he actually went in and did it for a few games, and his opportunities didn't come right away, but when Tevin got hurt, since he went in versus Tampa and what he did yesterday, is exactly to me how he left off versus Green Bay.
Did you guys give Quan Alexander the game ball again?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
He had one in his locker.
Did he? He's been carrying that game ball around since we gave it to him. It was actually, if everyone appreciated it that much, I'd give guys a lot more.
It looked like you were nickel defense almost the whole time. Was that strictly based on their personnel, or did you want to play nickel?
No, based off their personnel. They went 11, or they went 3 receivers so much, so we usually match people.
How encouraged were you by Samuel's play, wide receiver, and what do you think about the wide receiver core through 2 games?
Well, to me, I always say you're getting better or worse, and I think they took a huge step forward this week. I thought they played very well, especially in the run game, all of them. They blocked extremely hard, and were one of the reasons we got our running backs to the corners and not always just to the safeties. Debo, I thought, did some real good things when we got the ball in his hand, and I thought he also ran some of his best routes that he's done, especially that first play of the third quarter. I thought that was the best route that he's had since he's been here. Even the one that he dropped was a really good route. He dropped the ball, which he's got to finish, but I was encouraged by his route. But I thought all the guys took a step in the right direction, and I was real happy with them.
The tackling's been a lot better through 2 games this year than last year. Do you attribute that to better personnel or something you guys did in the offseason?
We didn't. Hopefully we get better at coaching it, and then hopefully the players. We add some players who are pretty good at it, and and I think we've had a lot more than just one guy at the ball too. I think it's tough for anyone just to tackle a guy one-on-one. I think we've had a lot more guys flying around, getting to the ball, playing a little bit more aggressive, and getting guys down. So it's been encouraging, but it's not like we were tackling in practice or anything. You gotta constantly talk about it and harp on it. And you got to make sure you got the right guys too.
How did Nick Bosa come out of that game, just in terms of the health of the ankle?
He came out healthy, healthier than the week before. You know, sometimes when you come back with a high ankle sprain, you always get a few setbacks in those games. And I know he did versus Tampa, but he didn't complain of any yesterday. Didn't play as much. We were playing him less on purpose, and then we took out most of our starters there in the fourth quarter. So I think it worked out well. He was able to affect the game and get out healthier than he did the week before.
If Ford were not to play on Sunday, would you like to keep the rotation the same and have Bosa and sub package and third down, or would you increase his workload?
I don't think that would have to do with D. That would more have to do with his health. We're going to give him whatever he can handle, and if we feel he's good enough to go and it's not risking him for anything, then we'll play him as much as possible.
I know you don't base anything on what the chatter is, but Garoppolo, obviously there was conversation about him even after last week, not playing well or could be playing better. After this week, is there any conversation with him even before it about what you might be thinking about his play and what you expect from him moving forward?
No, not much. I mean, I don't try to make a big deal with him the first week. You go over the plays and you coach him up, and we did the same thing today when we watched the stuff. I think it was good for him when you talk about the chatter and stuff. I think it was good for him to have some success because that always takes a little pressure off. I mean, everyone, whether you try to ignore it or not, you hear that stuff, and I think it's good that he did go out there, have some success, so you can take that off his back a little bit, and you can relax and just go through his process of just trying to improve each week. We all know what he's coming back from. He did struggle at times the first week, but he had some good plays too. And yesterday he had a really good day, but there was also some plays he missed. So by no means was it perfect. So that's just, you look at each play as its own and you get through the whole tape. And I think he was happy with the result, but hopefully he's not satisfied.
What are your early thoughts on the obviously depleted Steelers team, and how different will they be without that?
I'm still trying to get to them. Once you guys let me get out of here. But anytime they don't have Ben, that's a huge deal. I mean, Ben's one of the best quarterbacks of our generation, so I know that's got to be a huge blow for them. But I know Rudolph will be ready. He'll step in. They've always had a good scheme. They know what they're doing. And they got some other players out there too. So by no means it's still the NFL. It's going to be a very tough game. But anytime you lose a guy like Ben Roethlisberger, who, everyone knows how good he is, and I still think he's underrated. So that's a big blow for him.
First touchdown, the good one. I noticed Juszczyk had to kind of come across the formation after the fake. How tough of a pass block is that?
It's tough. Especially to do it from the I formation. That's what's nice about Juice, that he's got a lot more fluidity than a lot of other fullbacks. He can be in the I in a 3-point, go to the strong side, not run into the quarterback, come back across like he's doing a slide, and then stop and block, which allows Jimmy to pull up and look for Keith trying to sneak out the backside.
Have you solidified, had a chance to the Baltimore, New Orleans travel? Do you definitely know you're going to stay out?
Yes, that's definitely the plan. Our travel guys just got to come through. So.
Would you want to stay near New Orleans, I would guess?
Yeah, I don't really care where we stay, just as long as it's the East Coast time. That's pretty much the only thing to me that would matter. I know it was a big deal. We don't want to stay in Florida after the Tampa game because it was just we don't want to be in the heat all week, even though the humidity and heat followed us to Youngstown. But it shouldn't be as big of an issue in December, so I think we'll have more options, and we'll see what Riss and Slap come up with.
Do you think this team is thinking it's good?
Yeah, I think our team has been feeling that since OTAs. If you don't, you're in trouble. I think you go into every season believing you're good. But it has been different this year than the last couple of years because guys, they can see the guys next to them. And we have some better players, and the guys who have been here have gotten better. And guys could feel that early on in OTAs, which gives you some confidence. Definitely had it in training camp, and you try to develop that confidence in the preseason. But that's, to me, what was so important about that win versus Tampa. You want to believe it, you think it's true, but you got to find ways to win some of those ugly ones. And that's why I thought the Tampa one was a huge win. And guys believe it the more they do that. And they carried into the next week, and that game win yesterday is as good as any game, as I've been a part of. And that only gives confidence, but it doesn't make anything easier. Things only get harder, and we're going to have a huge matchup this week.
Yesterday was the most locked in this team's been in a long time. Do you feel that staying in Youngstown was an important team-building activity, or what do you think you got out of staying in Youngstown?
I don't know. I don't want to. We had one of our best games, so that doesn't mean that we're going to go to Youngstown every single week from here on out.
But you'd like to.
But I'd love to. No, but Youngstown was great. But it's, we felt, for the last 2 years, we felt how our team feels sometimes on those early kickoffs on Sundays, even when we have gone on Friday. And that is really about the earliest you can go. You won't have this option on other East Coast games, but when you do have 2 back-to-back, at least we had that option. And I heard how they had done it in the past. If someone asked me that the first year I got here, it would have been like, no way, that'll tire our team out. That's just too much. And it did feel like that at times when we were there. But I definitely felt like we felt different when we woke up Sunday. We felt like East Coasters. And we were for 10 days. And now we got to get used to being back on the West Coast, but it's, as I've learned, it's not as big of an adjustment.
On that potential trip to the Eastern Time Zone in early December, is that a conversation you've already had with the Leadership Council? And if so, what was their reaction to that?
I haven't had it with them yet. And I don't think I totally have to. I think they know how it went, and I think they understand. I think everyone has different opinions, but I think no one will argue with the fact that it does make sense.
Couple more? All right, we're good.
Thanks, guys.